up, Spurs fans? Welcome back to Season 2 of GSG Nation. And we are officially in Season 2 of the Wimby era. Very, very exciting time for us. And I hope everybody enjoyed the offseason, as the Spurs were able to make some unexpected transactions during the offseason in obtaining veterans such as Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, who personally I think are going to do wonders for this team. And the main purpose of bringing those two veterans into the team was to instill that winning culture back into San Antonio. So I really do believe in those two. I do believe the Spurs are going to see some more wins this season. And I believe that this will finally be the start of bringing the winning culture back to San Antonio. But I hope everybody enjoyed the offseason. We did get to see some exciting things from our team, from certain players. We had Wimby playing in the Olympics, winning the silver medal. And we also got to see our number 4 pick, Stephon Castle, play in the Summer League. And most importantly, what I think about Stephon Castle, too, is that we were able to see his true skill set this summer. We didn't leave with any question marks of what he can contribute to the team. And so the good thing is we know what he can and can't do. And, we can just get him right in the gym and work on those things that he needs to work on. And also enhance those things that he's already good at. So I'm really pleased with the outcome and the draft pick of Stephon Castle. So hopefully his wrist healed up during this offseason and he'll be ready to go for the season opener. But today's episode, we're going to preview the Spurs 2024 season schedule, and we're going to go over the 21 game schedule that we will be in attendance for this season. And we are really, really hoping to get more fans involved this season. I really think we will. We had a great outcome and showing for the draft party this summer. So if you haven't checked that out yet, on YouTube, there is a video special of us at the draft party interviewing fans and getting their thoughts of our draft pick and then their thoughts of this upcoming season. So really good stuff. Make sure to go to YouTube and check that out. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay, so the Spurs did something new this year, which I'm actually pleased that they did, because last season they took a game or two away from us for the season ticket holders for the half season package. But this year they're actually giving us back those games, so we're back to 21 games this season. And what they did new was that they're giving us a preseason game. So I will be in attendance for the October 9th preseason game against the Orlando Magic, which I'm extremely excited just to get back into the Frost Bank Center. I'm excited for some more Spurs basketball. So October 9th, we will be there, and we will get some more fan interviews starting October 9th. Following that, as always, we will be there for the home opener on October 26th for the Houston Rockets game. Obviously, as Spurs fans, there's always hype against the Rockets game, our interstate rivals. So really looking forward to going to that game. And of course, we will be getting free t-shirts. Anybody who attends the home opener game will be getting free t-shirts. So hopefully you can make it out to that one. It's a really good one to go to. Should be very competitive as well. It's going to let us know where we stack up against another team in our own division. So if you can, try to get yourself a hold of tickets for that game. It's really fun attending those home openers. I know it's going to be jam-packed, and I know fans are going to be really excited for that one. The next game we'll be attending is November 2nd against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That one's going to be heavy competition. Obviously, Minnesota being a top team in the West, that game's, early on in the season is going to let us know early on where we stack up against the West top competition. I believe Minnesota is going to just, as soon as the season starts, they're just going to hit it off running. I don't think that they're going to need time to get it together. I think they're going to start off where they left off last season, and they're going to be ready to go soon as season starts. So that'll be a really competitive game, hopefully, for us to go to. I think that, we beat them early on last year, so I think we could, make it a competitive one. Even if we don't win, I think it's going to be a very competitive game. We won't go over all 21 games, but I'll let you know which ones I'm most excited to attend. So that next one being against the Lakers on November 15th. Well, I mean, that's always a great game to attend. We have a really, really good chance of beating them this year. Really just putting our stamp on, hey, this year the Spurs are here to compete. And, it's always great beating them at home because honestly, one of the most important things that I don't like about attending a Lakers game here sometimes is just that it's almost like a home game for the Lakers. There's so many bandwagon fans, and there's also just a lot of people from California that moved here to Texas that they save their money to go see their team, especially when they can against the Spurs with that rivalry there. So it's really like a home game for the Lakers when they come here, and that's one thing that I don't like about attending those games. But what I will say is what makes up for it is when we do beat them, we do get to see a lot of them just going home really pissed off and sad. So that's a great part, and I'm really excited to see that game. I think, we will make it competitive this year. We have a really, really good chance of beating them. And, we beat them last year already when they came here and we played them back to back. So that was good there. The next game I'm excited to attend would be against the Oklahoma City Thunder on November 19th. We get our Wemby Chet matchup, season 2. And if Wemby dominates Chet and it's a close game, I'll be satisfied with that outcome. Whether we win or lose, as long as Wemby dominates Chet, I'll be very satisfied with that outcome. Obviously, we want to make it competitive, of course. Every single game, we want to win that game, but I'll be happy with just a Wemby domination in that game for sure. I'm excited to go to the NBA Cup game, which is the week of December 9th. And if you can, try to go to the first NBA Cup game that we have because that's when they give out the free t-shirts to the whole arena. So if you can, go to the first game. But I'm really excited about that one. Of course, we're going to see a new court design, which was leaked by NBA 2K25 and then, posted online for everybody else to see. So, the colors actually look much, much better this season. And it, obviously is just true to our color. So I'm really pleased with that outcome. And I hope that they change the color of our shirts. Last year, they gave us yellow shirts for the NBA Cup game, but I'm kind of hoping they go to like black with some silver logos. I think that would definitely, suit us better. Of course, bring our colors back. So hopefully they go that route with it. Then after that, going into January, I think the 2 games I'm most excited about that month are January 4th against the Denver Nuggets and January 31st against Milwaukee. Those are 2 of our best games last season. The Wemby block heard around the world against Giannis, and then our huge upset against the Denver Nuggets towards the end of the season, ruining their seeding. What a great, great game. But so pleased that they're giving us those 2 games in January. Those are going to be huge. Obviously, just excited to see the competition, and hopefully, we get a chance to ruin, both of their seedings if possible. So those 2 will be really, really good to go to if you can in January. Then leading into March, the best game in March that we'll be at is March 10th against the Dallas Mavericks. Another interstate rival. Of course, that's going to be a top team in the West. And so if you can, try to get yourself a hold of tickets for that game. That's going to be huge. And 2, it's going to be later on in the season when teams are, both of us should really be rolling. We'll know by then what we're going to do with Chris Paul. Like, is he sticking around? Did we trade him already? But if he sticks around by then that means that the Spurs are being, competitive enough for him to stick around. And that should be a very, very competitive game because we know by then the Dallas Mavericks should be rolling and be a top team in the West, I think. And I'm also excited to see another game against the Orlando Magic. We're going to be there again for the preseason game, but March 17th we'll be there for that game. I just enjoy going to the Magic games. Just the history of that team, the history that we have, with them. Growing up in the 90s, that was just a really, really popular team, as kids. And, I even had a Shaquille O'Neal jersey back then when he was playing with the Orlando Magic. I love seeing their colors. And then, of course, seeing stars like Paolo Banchero, that's going to be really competitive, really fun. Seeing Franz Wagner, I'm a fan of those two guys. And, they really stuck it to us last season. And we were there last season, and those guys are huge. I mean, they have a really, really big team. So hopefully we stack up against them better this year. And then to close it out, we will be there in attendance for the Golden State Warriors game on March 30th, which I can't stand because that's also where all the bandwagon fans come out, and it feels like a Golden State home game. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year, and I think finally that'll start to die out, especially as we get closer to the retirement of Steph Curry, which most of us can't wait for. Most of us Spurs fans can't wait for. And then, of course, Sunday afternoon, April 13th, against the Toronto Raptors to close out the season. That's going to be... It'll be sad to attend that game because that means we're coming to a close of the season, which hopefully it ends up being exciting. So that's the games that we are most excited to attend out of the 21 game schedules that we'll be there for. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual full season schedule. Let's go ahead. I'm going to just, throw some predictions out month by month to predict our record. So let's go ahead and get started with October. Pull up that schedule here. Okay, so we got 5 games in October. We open up the season against the Dallas Mavericks at Dallas, which is going to be tough. But the thing is, we got a new cast. We got a new cast this season, and I think we can make it competitive at the beginning of the season for our first game. Absolutely. But again, yeah, it's going to be tough. That team is probably going to be rolling from last season. I don't think that's going to take them long either to just jump out the gates and get going. But as long as we make it a competitive game, very, very close game, and I think that Spurs fans are going to be very, very pleased with that, no matter the outcome, as long as we keep it close. But it's possible that we do win. But again, it's going to be hard because new cast of characters. Who knows how long it's going to take us to mesh and really get going? We don't even know who we're starting yet. So, we will see though in due time. So for October, I got us actually going 3-2. And those 3 wins coming against the 2 at home against Houston. And then I really think that we could beat Utah to close out the month of October. Obviously, those Houston games, those should be very competitive. I don't think, even with the new cast of characters, I don't think that, we need to be fully on the same page. I don't think we need to be the complete team to be competitive and beat that team. I honestly think that people are overhyping Houston a little bit. And honestly, until they do something, I'm not sold on Houston, and I don't think that the Spurs should be threatened by Houston either. So really, I think we can come out with a win against in those 2 games against them, and then a win against Utah. Although that Utah one's going to be competitive because we did not play well against them last year. I specifically just remember Colin Sexton having really good games against us. I remember going on runs in those games, and then Colin Sexton actually was the one that kind of just put an end to those runs. Kind of just really took the game into his own hands and just dominated us. But I don't see that happening this year because of our veteran Chris Paul, who is also good at defense and is going to be able to control the pace of the game more. And that's a good thing because this year you're going to see that. You're going to see more of a control of pace, especially having Chris Paul as our point guard, and you're not going to see us just running the court like crazy, not knowing what to do. So I think that game's going to be very competitive, and I think we're going to come out with the W for that one. Rolling into November, I have us going 7-7. And so that's good. 500 in November, that's actually not bad at all. That's a huge plus side, and that would put us at 10, 10-9 for the months of October and November. If we close it out like that, have us pulling off wins again, against Houston. Yeah, like the odds are Houston's gonna get a win out of those first 3 games against us. But I do see, if we were to pull off W's, these are the teams that I see us pulling them off against. Houston again in November. I could see us beating Portland, Utah. I can also see us beating Washington. I can see us beating the Los Angeles Lakers that month. And then, we do play Utah. We play Utah 3 times in November. So there's no way they're beating us all 3 times in November. So that's where I see our W's coming from. We also play the Lakers twice in November. Don't be surprised if we pull up W's against them. Those are 2 home games for the Spurs. So if we were to go 7 for 7, those are the teams I could see us beating out for those. For December, got us going 6-7 in December, which I think December is definitely going to be one of our toughest months, toughest stretches of the season. The 6 wins that I see as possibly pulling off. We do play Sacramento twice in the beginning of December, so I could see us possibly pulling a win off in one of those games. Then we have Chicago at home. I could see us winning. Atlanta and Portland we have at home, and I can see us winning those 2. Then we go on the road, and we have games against Philadelphia, which is the game actually before our Christmas game, which we're all excited about. And the Christmas game is against New York. Philadelphia and New York, those are going to be 2 tough road wins. Hopefully we pull off a win against one of those teams, but those aren't one of the wins that I could, that I'm including in the 6 for December. Moving on, I could see us beating Brooklyn in Brooklyn. And then I could see us beating the Clippers at home. So December's definitely going to be one of our toughest months. Along with January, yeah, those are going to be our toughest stretches. It's going to be December and January this year, which to me is kind of unusual or different for us, a little bit unusual, because usually the rodeo road trip is, and in February is one of our toughest stretches. We'll get to that part of the schedule in just a minute here, but I think that this season it's going to be December and January. So for January, I got us going 5-8 in January. We do start January playing Denver in back-to-back games. So I see us pulling a win off in one of those games. Then if we were to continue to win, I can see us pulling off wins against Chicago at Chicago. I could see us possibly, I can see us winning one of the 2 games in LA against the Lakers. And then after that, we got 2 against Memphis. And those are 2 home games. And so a new thing too that they're incorporating more this season is playing like more back-to-back games, or more what you call like series games. So we are going to see us playing the same team 2-3 times in a row. I think actually it's just 2 times in a row quite often this year. So it's going to be leaning more towards a smaller version of what baseball does in playing series. So we'll be playing a lot of back-to-backs this season, and which actually I could see us winning one of the 2 each time. I don't really see a team being so dominant where they're probably gonna just come out and whoop us both times. And if that were the case, I'm sure that if they were to whoop us the first game, then they would sit people out in the second matchup, and then that's possibly where we pull off our win there. But if we were to get those wins in January, again, yeah, I can see us winning one against Denver in the beginning. I can see us winning one against the Lakers, one against the Memphis, because these are all back-to-back games. Then we go to France and play Indiana, and I can see us winning. The odds of us winning both of those games are very high, because those Paris games should really feel like 2 home games for the Spurs. So hopefully that is the case. But I could see us winning and beating against Indiana. And then we do play Milwaukee twice in January as well. So again, I could see us winning one of those two games. And even possibly the one in Miami before we take off for Paris. It would be, I'm sure the guys would love to be on the flight to Paris fresh off a win, just really hyped up for their trip. So I could see that being an outcome. Really excited there. And then moving on to February, like I mentioned, that's when we take our rodeo road trip. And in this year, I can actually see us going 8-4 for the rodeo road trip. Again, to me, that's very unusual because that's one of our toughest stretches of the season. In the past, it's always been that way. Even though we've had vets and had a good team, it was still a tough stretch of being away from home for so long. It was never easy. But I think that this year, it looks a little bit easier. And I think we can pull off 8 wins for that month. And in February, hopefully by then, the new cast of characters that we have, they'll mesh by then. Hopefully Chris Paul sticks around because we're good enough to keep him. Wouldn't mind keeping him for another year, even after this season, especially if we're good enough, and really instill that winning culture in San Antonio. But hopefully by February we got things going a little bit, and then of course during that rodeo road trip, that's when the guys can really just bond and really just form that that complete team that they're capable of being. So hopefully we see that by then. And then going into March, we just really hit it running. Hopefully we go on a roll. I see us going 9 of 8 in March, which it's just one above 500. But March could be a tough one. But I think that if we're at least 500 in March, I think that'll still put us in a good place to be play-in contenders at that pace. And then going into April to close out the season, I could see us going 3-4 or 4-3. Again, hopefully by then we're on a roll and we can close it out 4-3. But if we were to close it out with my predictions, that would bring us at 41-41 for the end of the season, which puts us at 500, which would be an outstanding outcome, a huge improvement of what we saw last year. I know fans would be extremely, extremely pleased to see us at 500 at the end of the season, which would, I think that this coming up season will be good enough to put us in the playoff. In the play-in, possibly that last playoff spot. But 41 wins would be a huge jump from last year. I also wouldn't be upset if, we just hit that 35 win mark. I think anywhere between 35 to 40 wins would be a huge improvement for us, a reason for us to be very satisfied with the outcome of the season, and which should really, let us know like, hey, okay, the future is bright. Even though we weren't at 500, I think that 35 wins is also a huge improvement from last season, what we witnessed. And I think we're going in that direction. So, the odds are good to where we can win 500. I believe we're going to be a play-in team this season. I think, definitely we're going to be more of a play-in than a playoff right away. But even then, I'll be satisfied with that. And then with that, I think that we'll still, if we keep Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, I think obviously that means we were competitive enough. And I think we would have a good chance in moving forward if we made it to the play-in. I definitely think our team got better this offseason. I think we're going to see a better version. And also, too, with just having Chris Paul running the point, I think we should see a complete game from Devin Vassell. He's not going to have to, facilitate really as much. And then he's going to be able to focus more on defense this year. So we should be able to see a complete game from him. Of course, Sohan, we're going to see his true position finally. So we should see a better version of him, especially since he's not going to have to worry about playing position he's never played before, in position we don't need him playing. But although I do think he did learn skill sets from that point guard experiment, so now that that's gone away in the past, I don't think we're going to be running that again, and we're going to finally be able to see, his true game, and I think we're going to see improvement for sure. But Chris Paul just running the point is really, really a huge improvement for us, and finally we're going to be able to control pace. You're not going to see us just running the floor. You're not going to see young guys just driving the lanes uh, with their head down and just thinking, I'm going to score the ball myself and not really seeing the open man. You're not just going to see running and gunning and just shooting threes with nobody there to rebound. We're going to be able to run more plays. You bring in Harrison Barnes, another veteran who's very high IQ. We're going to be able to run more complex schemes with him offensively and defensively with Barnes and Chris Paul on the court. So finally, like our main core of guys of Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Wemby, and Sohan, those guys are really going to learn a lot this year, I believe. And our team is going to look better. We already look better on paper, and I think that we're going to see that on the court too this year. I think we're going to surprise a lot of fans, and I think we're going to surprise a lot of teams. Teams are going to have to now think of different ways to guard us. You're not just going to be able to just crowd the paint and guard Wemby, because guess what? If you do that now, we got Chris Paul who can take shots now. He can make shots. He can make mid-range shots, and he can make three-pointers. If I think this year, if you leave Devin Vassell open, he's going to nail more shots too. And I know we haven't seen any videos of Sohan shooting much threes in practice. Who cares? It doesn't mean he's not working on it. But I think that he did work on it. So I think we're going to see him shooting better threes this year. Not like crazy amount, but I think we're going to see an improvement. And I think he's just going to play a different role. But yeah, you're just not going to be able to crowd the paint and guard Wemby this year on us. Harrison Barnes can hit shots. Another important thing that, bringing in these veterans, what's going to help us and the team is that these guys know how to take care of the ball. They have high IQ. They've been in the league for a very long time. So they, in crunch time, they know how to play ball with, they're focused. The game's not too fast for them. They know what to do. They know how to take care of the ball. They know how to make the right play. They know how to make the right pass. And that's going to be a huge difference of what we're going to see this year. There's going to be a lot of games that, are going to be close. And one thing we're going to notice the difference in is that this past season in close games, we made stupid plays. We threw the ball away. This year, we're not going to see that as much. We're going to have guys that can take care of the ball, guys that can make the right play, guys that know when to cut, when to penetrate, when to set a screen, when to foul, when not to foul. We're going to see a huge difference in those close games because when we're playing Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes together, it's really going to be beneficial, and we're going to see some more wins out of it. I fully believe that. So I'm really excited for this season. I think fans have a lot to be optimistic about, a lot to be excited about. So if you can, try to attend some of these games, some of the games that I mentioned that you'll get a free shirt at, try to get those. I know ticket prices rose this season and it's a little bit harder to attend games, but if you can, there are apps out there that you can purchase a little bit cheaper ticket, and don't be too afraid to sit in the upper sections because it's still a great time. And I promise you that the crowd in the upper section is so hyped throughout the game. The view's still good enough. And, just to be in that atmosphere, it's really fun. It's a fun time. And so if you can, try to make it out to a game this season. And I know for sure this season we're going to get more fan involvement. We had a great showing for the draft party this summer. Fans were just really excited. So I know that I'm going to be able to interact with more fans this season at the Frostbank Center. We're going to get more fan involvement. We're going to get y'all's thoughts about the team out there. We're going to get your viewpoints, your story. We're going to write the story of our Spurs together, and we're going to write it the way we want to write it. You know, the way that mainstream media doesn't write it for us. We're going to bring the city of San Antonio good content for the Spurs, good fan content by the fans. So I'm really excited. I know we'll get that involvement. So if you are at a game, just look out for GSG Nation. We're going to be there again in section 125. We did not change sections. We did not change seats this upcoming season. We will be in the same spot, section 125. You'll see us there. We'll be interviewing fans, getting your thoughts, again, your opinions, your voice out there for the San Antonio Spurs. We will be cheering on this team together. I'm really, really excited for season 2. Can't wait to be there with you guys. First game, October 9th against the Orlando Magic, which is a preseason game. So look for us there. And as the team gets better, hopefully the city will host more watch parties. We will be attending the Rock at La Cantera throughout the season as well, especially, you know, those games that we're not going to be in attendance for. So we'll be in attendance at the Rock at La Cantera, getting more fan involvement there. And again, hopefully, once the team gets better, hopefully the city starts to host more watch parties throughout the city again, like back in the old days. And hopefully we'll get on the road and attend those watch parties and get y'all's involvement there too. So really exciting stuff to come this coming season. More just growth just through fan involvement. So be sure to keep up with GSG Nation on X at GSG Nation Talk, on Instagram and TikTok at GSG Nation, and subscribe to GSG Nation on YouTube. Thanks again, fans. This was Season 2, we are back. Go Spurs, go.